What's up YouTube? I'm here to do my prediction video for UFC Fight Night Till versus Masvidal. Let's start at the bottom. The first fight is Mike Grundy versus Nad. I can't say his last name. Both these guys are primarily grapplers. I think Nad's a little bit better of a boxer, but I definitely think Mike has a huge advantage in terms of wrestling. I think that, he was like an Olympic freestyle wrestler, and I think that the wrestling is just going to be way too big of an advantage. He only has one loss, and it was really early in his career. He got caught in a triangle. I think his submission game's gotten a lot better since then, and I think that he's going to get the takedowns or at least control against the fence as much as he wants, and I think sooner or later he's just going to win a decision. So I got Mike Grundy winning by 30-27 decision. Next, we got Molly McCann versus Priscilla. I can't say her last name, but to me, Molly McCann is a good striker, but I think Priscilla is also really good. I think Priscilla, people are going to give her a bad rap just because in her UFC debut, she kind of got beat up by Valentina, but Valentina's, in my opinion, the best woman fighting in the world by a big margin. And I think we're going to see Priscilla do really well. Like, if you've seen her fight outside the octagon, she looks really good. And I think that's why she got the Valentina fight, because people thought she was going to be a good fight for her. I think that just shows how good Valentina is. I don't think that's fair to Priscilla. I think we're going to see Priscilla look really good in this fight, and I think she's going to win by decision. Next, we got Dan Henry versus Dan Ige. And Dan Henry, even though he's 2-0 in the UFC, I still feel like he's not the greatest overall guy. I think, his debut, he was getting his ass kicked until what's-his-face got gassed, and he basically just beat him up. And then in his second fight, he caught the other guy. To me, Dan Ige shown a much more well-rounded game. I think his overall conditioning and grappling are better than Dan Henry's. Dan Henry's probably a little bit better of a striker, but I think Ige, like I said, is the better grappler. And I also don't think Dan Henry has the greatest takedown defense. I think that Ige will be able to get the takedowns when he needs to, and I think Ige is going to edge out a decision. Next, we got Tom Rees versus Ian Herschel, and Ian Herschel looks like he's really good, really well-rounded, good striking, grappling, but I just feel like Tom Rees is a little bit better everywhere. I think his striking and his grappling are both just a tiny bit better than Ian's. It's tough just because, like I said, Ian's wrestling advantage could edge him out the rounds, but I'm just going to go with Tom. I think he has the striking advantage, and I think Ian will strike with him a little too long, and I think Tom's going to end up catching him sooner or later. Next, we got Nikolai, I can't say his last name, versus, I can't say this dude's name either, Saparek, some Russian dude. The Russian dude, he's 0-2 in the UFC. He's a scrapper, but he's not the greatest well-rounded guy. To me, Nikolai is really solid. He's 9-0. I think he's a solid up-and-comer, and I think they're trying to give him an easy win. So I'm going to go with Nikolai. I think he's got well-rounded striking and grappling. I say he gets a finish in the first round. Next, we got Mark DeCasey versus Joseph Duffy, and this fight's tough just because Joseph Duffy hasn't fought in a year, so I don't know how Rusty's going to look. Mark DeCasey hasn't fought in a while either. Striking-wise, it's pretty close. DeCasey's probably a little bit better, but I think anywhere on the ground, Joseph Duffy's way better, and I think it's going to go there. I think Mark DeCasey, his biggest problem is after the first round, he starts to slow down a lot, and I think that he shoots for takedowns when he gets tired. And I think if he does that, and this is on the ground, Joseph Duffy's going to catch him in a triangle or an armbar, and I think that's just what's going to happen. I think the first round's going to be back and forth striking. I don't think he's going to finish Duffy, and I think he's going to go for a takedown, or Duffy will catch him with an inside trip or something, and once it's on the ground, I think Duffy's just going to dominate him. So I got Duffy winning by round 2 sub. Next, we got Arnold Allen versus Jordan Rinaldi, and this is Arnold Allen's first fight against a really, really good wrestler, so we're going to see how good his overall grappling game is. He fought Marquand, but Marquand's more like a freestyle grappler than a wrestler. I think Jordan Rinaldi's a more sound wrestler. It's tough. Striking-wise, Arnold Allen's probably a little bit better, but like I said, I think overall wrestling, Jordan Rinaldi's better. I think their jiu-jitsu is about even. It's kind of just who can keep it where. I'm slightly leaning towards Arnold Allen, even though he hasn't fought in a while and he could be rusty. That's my biggest concern, is he hasn't fought in like a year or two, but it's super tough, but I'm slightly leaning towards Allen. But I wouldn't be surprised if Rinaldi just takes him down repeatedly because he's been out for so long. But yeah, I'm leaning towards Allen. I think he gets a split decision. Next, we got Jack Marshman versus John Phillips, and striking-wise, they're probably about even. I think Phillips might have more punching power, so I would lean towards him in that area, but grappling-wise, Jack Marshman does him every day. I think Jack Marshman, whether he's on top or on bottom, is just a much better grappler. John Phillips has shown, he has decent takedown defense, but once he's on the ground, he's super easy to submit. He's 0-2 in the UFC, and both times he's submitted pretty easily, in all honesty. I think Jack Marshman, he's not the greatest grappler in the world, but I think he's definitely much better than Phillips, and I see that happening. I think they're going to be striking for a little bit. Marshman's going to hit the takedown whenever he wants, and then when he gets on top of him, I think he's going to win by arm triangle rear naked choke. So I got Jack Marshman winning by round 1 rear naked choke probably. Next we got Danny Roberts versus Claudio Silva, and this is another one of those fights where it's like striker versus grappler. Danny Roberts is the much better striker. Silva's the much better grappler. I think the big difference is I think Danny Roberts can survive on the ground with Silva, and I don't think Silva can hang with Roberts on the feet. Roberts isn't like a one-punch knockout guy, but I think he's just much better on the feet. This is another weird one, just because Claudio Silva, he's so inconsistent. He only fights like 1 time a year, and I don't like picking guys who don't fight that often, even though he's basically undefeated. I'm leaning towards Roberts. I think he keeps this standing, and I think he just picks him apart for 3 rounds and wins a decision. Next, we got Nathaniel Wood versus Joseph Alberto, or Jose, I mean. I think that Nathaniel Wood's just much better. I think overall striking is probably going to be close, but I think Nathaniel's got the much better ground game. I think just like in his last fight, we saw him strike with that guy who was also a decent striker, but took him down whenever he wanted and then won by submission. His 2 UFC fights were both like that. It was back and forth striking, and then he took it to the ground and won by submission. He's literally, he trains with Brad Pickett and he fights just like Brad Pickett. His striking's good and his grappling's better. I think this is going to be, it's just going to be back and forth striking, and then when Nathaniel Wood decides to take it to the ground, I think he's going to win by rear naked choke or like a Darce. So I got Nathaniel Wood winning by probably 2nd round submission. Next we got Volkan Oezdemir versus Dominic Reyes, and Dominic Reyes has looked really good, but I don't think he's fighting one as good as Volkan. I think that Volkan, you know, he tends to gas a little bit, but I think that in a 3-round fight, he'll be able to pace himself a little bit better. I think that, like I said, overall striking, Dominic Reyes probably hits a little bit harder, but I think Volkan is a little bit more technical. Grappling-wise, I think Ozdemir's takedown defense should be good enough to keep it on the feet. I think Dominic Reyes is the better overall grappler. It's really tough because I feel like Dominic Reyes has a really, really good shot at winning this fight, but I'm just edging Volkan. I think he's good enough to just win 2 of the 3 rounds. I think this will be a really, really close fight. Probably fight of the night, but I'm slightly leaning towards Volkan. I say he wins a close split decision. Next, we got Leon Edwards versus Gunnar Nelson, and to me, Leon Edwards is probably a little bit better. Is definitely the better wrestler, but I feel like in terms of striking, it's pretty close. I think Nelson's a little bit more technical, but Leon's a little bit faster. And I think on the ground overall, Gunnar's just much better. I feel like Gunnar, all of his losses were basically just to guys who were better wrestlers, and then he got caught against Ponzinibbio. You know, I think he got the ring rust out of his last fight, Gunnar Nelson did, and I think that sooner or later this fight's going to hit the ground, and when it does, I think Gunnar Nelson's just going to swarm Leon. I think his jiu-jitsu is just way too good. Like I said, I think striking-wise it's going to be close, but sooner or later Gunnar's going to hit that takedown. When he does, I think he's going to take Leon's back and win by rear naked. So I got Gunnar winning by either late first or like mid-second rear naked. Finally, we got Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal, and to me, this depends entirely on if Till makes weight or not. Because if Till makes weight, I don't think he wins. I think in that Tyron Woodley fight, he looked like shit. I think that his last 2 wins were fights that he missed weight pretty badly, like by 5 pounds or something like that. And I think we saw in the Tyron Woodley fight, when he makes that weight, he looks drained as shit. He's just too big for this weight class. So I know this isn't the greatest pick, but I mean, if you're betting money on this fight, wait until he weighs in. Because realistically, if he weighs in at 175 like he did against Stephen Thompson, I bet he wins. Because I don't think he'll be drained, and I think he's the faster, bigger guy. And I don't think Masvidal will be able to get it to the ground if he's missed weight and, you know, he's fighting at, you know, closer to 185. Like I said, he makes weight. I think Masvidal is just going to outpace him and get it to the ground eventually and probably win by TKO or submission. But if Till misses weight and weighs in at like 175, 176, then I think he won't look tired, and I think that he'll probably be able to keep it on the feet and win a decision. So that's really what this depends on, because Till looks amazing when he misses weight, and he doesn't have to cut that extra weight. He should just move up to 85. I think if he misses weight this time, even if he wins, they should just force him to move up. But if he does make weight, like I said, I think he looks drained and slow, and I think when he looks drained and slow, Masvidal is going to pick him apart and win by TKO or submission. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please like and subscribe.